Well, tonight we're going to have a bit of a sea story, I think is the right term, isn't it? Because I'm welcoming in the studio, I have 3 guests tonight. So we get nice and warm and snug in here. Graham and Tiegan Precy and Nikki Tweedie. Welcome to you all.
Hello.
Thank you very much.
Right, now, you have been brought together for one sort of craft, one sort of sea craft. And what is it?
Yeah, we've been brought together because we've bought a Cornish gig, what we believe is the most easterly Cornish gig in the country, to Newhaven. So, and for those of you who don't know what a Cornish gig is, if you've ever been to Cornwall, it's that 35-foot long boat that crews of 6 row out with a coxswain, and they row along the coast, and they work really hard to. And they row hard, and they have a lot of fun on the water.
And these are the gigs. I first saw them on TV on an episode of Island Parish when they actually went to the Isles of Scilly, and I think they were about to start a big gathering there. What is this?
Yeah, so the Isles of Scilly, every June or July, around 400 of the Cornish gigs get together and they race each other off the Scilly Isles, which is some of the waves and weather conditions down there are pretty awesome. But they get together and they carry on a really long running tradition, and we've started a tradition here as well.
Have you?
We have.
Right. And what is that tradition?
So we've got over 200 people out in our rowing boat. We've taught most people from scratch. We've been lucky enough to have, I think, 4 or 5 people who've rowed a Cornish gig before. And other than that, we've taught everybody who's come down how to row. And we've had participants as young as 7, 8, 9, up through 60s into their 70s. We've had people out on the boat just as pilots, passengers, as you might like to call it. And yeah, we're delighted to welcome everybody.
Oh, that sounds great. Now, Tiegan, you must be one of the younger members.
Yeah, I'm the head of junior rowers.
Are you? And how many junior rowers have you got?
There's around 30 junior rowers for about 7, ranging up to 15.
Right. Well, let's have a little bit of music now, shall we? And this is Bernard Cribbins. And guess what he's going to be singing on? A sea shanty.
I've been ashore too long, me boys. I've been ashore too long.
Now, a gig. Can you sort of explain its peculiarities or its specialities? Because obviously this is a sea-going boat. And not just something you'd row around on the Serpentine.
No, yeah, they were originally they're pilot boats who would race each other for the job of guiding in a big ship, which is originally how the racing took off. Because of course they would train hard in order to be the fastest boat, because the fastest boat got the job and therefore the cash.
The cash, yes.
So yeah, she's built to withstand quite serious seas, and we have been out in about 2-metre high waves with a competent crew, and it was awesome. It was incredible. She was
awesome or awful?
Awesome,
oh,
really
right.
Awesome. Yes, she was fantastic, and we've had a lot of fun. So we go out into Seaford Bay quite a lot, and we're going to do more and more kind of ocean training, because we'd quite like to compete in some of the ocean races.
Yes.
And we're quite new to it all, but we're getting better every time we go out.
Graham, how long have you been going?
Scarily, we've been going since the 10th of June last year. So we're really new as a club. I mean, the history behind it is a lot of us that kind of grew up in Newhaven, as people do, kind of disappear off and go and become hopefully worldly wise and learn lots of stuff. But a lot of homing pigeons have come back to Newhaven to say. To resettle back, actually, and a few of us one day in September 2015 had been down to Cornwall and seen the gigs and thought that would be really good. So we jumped in a car at 4 o'clock one Saturday morning, went down to Falmouth, convinced the Cornish Gig Club in Falmouth to give us a go on their boat, and we gave him some beer to thank them for that, and they let us row their boat for a couple of hours. And in the Falmouth Gig Club, they said, "Would you like to buy it?" And we said maybe it's a little bit early. We rowed this boat called Fury, which has won quite a lot of races in Cornwall. Anyway, and then time passed. We didn't really have the money to buy the boat, and a few of us got together a few months later, again in the pub, which I guess is a bit of a theme here.
Yes.
And we said, why don't we just bring this here? We leased the gig to see if it would work, and it rolled up on a trailer on the 10th of June last year, and we got it to the marina, and people turned up. We set up a Facebook page, and people said, I want to do that. And as Nikki said, we've had over 200 people of all ages turn up to come and have a go on a Cornish gig.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's been so fantastic. There have been a number of people that have said, I haven't found any sport that I've really enjoyed. I don't really like going to the gym, but this I could do. And we've got some people who are utterly hooked. They'll come at 7:30 in the morning at -3 on a Sunday. You can't keep them away. It's fantastic. And the community around it, the spirit, and the kind of the generosity in the way that other people help each other or, contribute. We've got people who contribute in so many different ways, tying knots, knowing about life jackets. The marina have been really good to us. There have been local corporate companies that have really helped us out. It's been fantastic to see people get around it and lift it off.
Oh, lovely. Tiegan, your youngsters, do they just help man it, or are you intending to have a crew entirely of youngsters?
We're intending to have a crew of the youngsters so we can go out and have fun, basically.
And enter some races, I hope.
Yeah.
I mean, are there other junior crews around the country?
Yeah.
We
want to bring back some trophies.
Yeah. Win some tin.
Oh, lovely. Let's hear what Russ Conway's got to give us. Well, welcome back to this edition of Community People here on Seahaven FM, and we are giggling. No, sorry, that's wrong. We are talking about gigs.
We are.
I'm sorry about that pun.
We have lots of fun.
Jolly good. Well, that's great. Now, obviously, you've needed a lot of help from all sorts of people.
Yep.
What sort of real help have you had from people in Newhaven, especially?
Well, actually, we've had some people who've really helped us. So from the marina to the Hope Inn have been fantastic as a place for us to get together. We've had help from sign writers. We've had help from local eateries that are fueling the cruise.
Wave Leisure have let us use some of their buildings to have some of our committee meetings because we formed a committee.
Yes.
And we did try meeting in the Hope, but there are some distractions in a public house, so we've decamped to one of the Wave Leisure buildings, which.
The RNLI have been fantastic to us as well, actually. At
their sea safety officers briefed us, and he's going to come to some of our committee meetings.
Yes.
And that's a real resource, actually, if you're listening and you're somebody who uses the water in any way. They offer free briefing and training. They're very happy to support you, and it was absolutely invaluable advice that they gave to us. So, big BZ, huge thumbs up to them. And, we raised some money also. We did a fundraiser at the Hope. And we raised over £1,000 for the RNLI because should we ever need them, we would like to think that we had contributed.
I mean, has your gig got sort of flotation chambers or things like that? So if you do get into trouble, the gig will stay afloat.
No, that's a really good question. So it's actually it's wood. So actually, it's really buoyant. It's it's a clinker built boat. Everyone wears life jackets. Everyone has to be able to swim. We look at people's health as well, just to take that into account. But fundamentally, we've got radios, fundamentally, the experience of being on a gig is that you're out there 6 of you working together. We often joke that it's 6 horsepower. There is no engine, and it is down to the cox and the crew on the boat to safely get out there, get rowing, get fit, have some amazing experiences along our coastline, and to have fun ultimately.
Yes, and of course you do need fuel, as you said. That's where the eateries have come in.
Absolutely.
And the various public houses, of course.
Yes.
I mean, fuel comes in liquid and solid forms, doesn't it?
It does indeed, yeah. And we've had many a coffee and a meeting in the Luna Rossa also, and they've been incredibly supportive of us.
Oh, good.
I think one of the things that, because I've been part of a number of different rowing clubs, and one of the things that I think is quite unique about us is the spirit. Because rowing takes quite a lot of effort and energy and quite a lot of learning, and because boats can be very expensive, some clubs can have a sort of a slightly elitist type of hierarchy or spirit about them, and we're very different. We're very open. The vast majority of people, as I said, came not knowing how to row or which end of a boat was which or where to sit or in which direction to look.
Does each rower have a single oar?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Right, not double ones.
No, it's not
Just
sculling.
single.
Yeah.
Right, now you have already, I mean, you've only been going, since June?
Yeah.
You've already got sort of links with other places, haven't you?
We have. We learnt the real strength of the tide actually on the Ouse one day.
Oh yes.
We decided to follow the tide up from Newhaven. Got to South East Bridge. It's a beautiful road. The Ouse Valley is one of the most beautiful places I've come across, and went to turn the gig at South East Bridge against 5 knots of tide, and then very quickly realised even with a very strong crew we were going nowhere. So we decided to follow the natural flow of the tide, and ended up accidentally in Lewis. And Nikki can probably talk to you a little bit about what we found in Lewis.
What did you find in Lewis, Nikki?
We found Lewis Rowing Club. We were delighted to be able to berth our boat, and we were welcomed generously by Brendan Parsons and other members of the club there, and we went to the pub for lunch, because of course that's what you do when you've got to wait for the tide to turn, and we've done that since on a number of occasions to be very welcomed by...
So you go up to Lewis on the tide.
Yes.
When it's slack water, you go into the local
absolutely.
pub
Yeah.
or a restaurant
Yes.
or cafe, and then you wait for the tide to go the other way, and you zoom all the way back to Newhaven
Yeah.
without any rowing at all.
Well, you could just sit and you'd be pushed back, but you go very slowly. But yes, we the first time that we officially went to Lewis Rowing Club, we were met by a number of different boats. David on his sailing boat and Ben in his scull, and yes, we're teeing them up for a race. We're seeing if they've got the mettle for it.
Ah.
So yes.
Now your organisation, does it have a name?
Yeah, we are Newhaven Gig Rowing Club.
Simple as that.
Yep,
Simple as that.
absolutely.
Newhaven Gig Rowing Club. That's
It does
lovely.
what it says on the tin.
And you operate with a small committee.
We
Yeah.
do. Committee of volunteers and a huge amount of supporters. We've been just genuinely surprised how a 35-foot plank of wood can make a massive difference to Newhaven and the surrounding area.
We have people from the fire service, people from the police service, people from local schools, from the NHS, local business people with all kinds of skills and experiences. And it's been incredible actually to see how people can come together around something. We've been very lucky to be able to use a shop in the marina, which we fondly call the Gig Shed. It's a very humble little abode for us at the moment. And we're in the process of applying for charitable status. And there are a range of different funds that we're looking at, including, which really excites me, the opportunity to bid for some money which would pay for a skiff, which is a 4-person wooden boat, rowing boat, a skiff to arrive in pieces. And our vision is that those pieces are to be put together in the UTC. So we'd have local young people learning about building a boat in Newhaven and then learning to row it. And that's the vision of the particular project that we're going to...
And how much do you need for a skiff?
About £10,000.
About £10,000. Oh.
Yeah.
Write out a check. How lovely that would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Someone to actually say, "Oh yes, yes, just right, you've had a check."
Yeah.
So you're bidding to get some funding for that.
Yeah, and British Rowing and other agencies that are tasked with increasing people's opportunities to access rowing are very keen to support clubs like ours, and we're absolutely delighted. And I do want to say that this largely was Graham's brainchild, so we are hugely grateful to him for his vision and his tenacity really in making this happen, and in just sharing an energy with all of us that frankly is hard to say no to. That we just want to grow it, and we want to find ways to enable local business people, local charities and other national charities to get involved and to provide something out of Newhaven that hasn't been around for a very long time.
That sounds marvellous. Has your gig got a name?
Yeah, it has. Our gig's called Amelie.
Called
Amelie.
Amelie.
Yeah, so we had Laura Jane first.
Yes.
Laura Jane was our first gig for 6 months, and she was a moulded plastic gig.
Yes.
And then we thought, no, we've got to go traditional.
Go the real thing.
Let's get the real thing.
Yes.
And Amelie arrived with us the bank holiday weekend in August.
Oh, that's great, isn't it? That really is. Now, how's your recruiting of youngsters going, Tiegan?
Yeah, really good.
You are? Lots of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, have you actually been out as a young crew?
Yeah, we go out about once or twice a month with the junior ones, and then there's a lot of rows every weekend for adults and over 16s.
Oh, that's super. Where do your youngsters come from?
All over the place really. We've had some from Newhaven, Peacehaven, Seaford, all around that area.
From schools or colleges and things like that?
Schools, colleges, both really.
Oh, that's lovely, because getting young people involved, I think really is important in anything. It doesn't matter what it is, it sounds that what you're doing is tremendous.
Yeah, we're particularly keen. I don't know if I know we've got very strong links with Northern France, and we actually Skyped into. There is a massive 100-year-old rowing club in Dieppe, the Club Nautique, and we Skyped into their amazing rowing club a couple of weeks ago to say hello. We've got a ferry service there. This should be really easy to do. They've been going for 100 years. We're heading over there at the end of the month with a crew, with the boats, to go and row in Dieppe, which we think would be absolutely fantastic. And the ferry team have been very supportive so far of making that happen. But they have 100 years of history, 2 French Olympian rowers, a big trophy cabinet, and actually they have a massive indoor rowing place for people to go and exercise of all ages. Now, why do we not have that in Newhaven is the question we have.
We just don't have it yet.
And that is the answer.
Absolutely the answer.
Don't have it yet. Now, we're going to have a little bit of fun now. You're probably all too young to remember Spike Jones and his City Slickers, aren't you? Are you all nodding?
Yes.
Right. Well, and you've probably heard of that old Black Magic, which is a very famous tune. Well, this is their fun version of it. Welcome back to this edition of Community People. Now, if you want to ask any questions about gig or gig rowing, well, do email me, bob.peedle@seahavenfm.com, or you can telephone on 01323 899 226, and Tom will take your message, and if you've got a question or a comment, we'll put it to our team here of 3, and let's see what comes. Now, does it have a mast and a flag?
Oh, that's a good question. So it doesn't have a mast. It has 6 oars. It has a cox and it has a passenger sometimes, and it does have a battle flag when we're racing.
That's what I mean.
So we have our own logo. So Newhaven Gig Rowing Club has a logo. There are we've sold actually around 60 T-shirts with our logo on, and there is a bit of a competition at the moment for those to end up in Cornish clubs, so that they can see what we're capable of here in Sussex.
Oh, good. So, I mean, the T-shirt just sort of got the logo on, or has it got sort of any other?
We very proudly wear Newhaven Gig Rowing Club and the logo on the back,
Right.
and it's part of. People really love them. They make people feel part of something that was created here in Sussex.
Yes, yes. Right. Looking to the future. What are your aims?
So we definitely want to do some trips. So in our mind, in our collective mind, we've talked about rowing to Rampion Wind Farm, which is 15 miles there and 15 miles back.
Yes.
We've got a crazy idea that we might be able to row to Dieppe. There was some talk of it being this year, but as the Cox, I can tell you that will be next year. We had a visit from some very inspiring men who have rowed the Channel in a gig, and some of whom are quite keen to join us should we embark on that journey ourselves. And I think that probably will happen next year. We definitely want to compete. We're looking to see who's ready to compete with us this summer, and whether we're ready to go down to Langston, because we've been invited to race down there.
Right.
Which is Portsmouth.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be good. Now, I mean, in your sort of training exercises and what have you, are you intending to do many sea trips, like, for example, from Newhaven to Brighton Marina and back?
Yeah, it's the beauty of where we are in Newhaven Marina is actually we can go out pretty much whatever the conditions actually. So if it's a southerly gale, it's sometimes quite difficult to even manoeuvre out of the marina, but we can turn left and go up the river.
Yes.
It's beautiful. Why are there not more people on the water on that 7 miles of river between Newhaven and Luton? Absolutely beautiful.
We go out every Saturday and every Sunday. We have about between 4 and 6 outings each day, and it's very, very rare to see anybody else. I would say we're very well looked after by the harbour master, and we radio them before we go out when we come back in, and they give us advice. About the sea state and also about the commercial shipping movement. So we're very careful. Obviously, safety is our priority. It's the first thing.
So your gig has got a radio.
Absolutely. Yeah. And a backup radio and a smoke flare and life jackets and all that sort of stuff.
And a compass.
And your mobile phones.
And mobile phones.
And mobile phones. So
absolutely.
And do you have anything to do with Coast Watch?
No, they're our guardians. Actually, they do an amazing job up on the top above Newhaven.
Yes.
They keep an eye on everything. It helps that we're a big 35-foot bright yellow thing in the water. But no, they do an amazing job. The harbour master does an amazing job, and the RNLI do an amazing job for us. So.
How far up the River Ouse can you actually get?
Oh, well, we've got all the way up to just before Cliff High Street Bridge.
Yes.
But there was rumours from Lewis Rowing Club that you can get all the way up to Barkham Mills.
That's what I was thinking. Because you're quite a shallow draft, aren't you?
Yeah, a 6-inch draft on our boat, which it makes the boat really shift.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Yeah.
But does it make it, when you're at sea, is it a sort of boat that sort of rocks from side to side, or can you keep...
She's incredibly stable.
Very stable.
Yeah, really beautiful.
So you just go up and down.
Yep, and she cuts through the waves like butter. It's just beautiful.
Oh, how lovely!
We were privileged enough to be able to go out on Remembrance Sunday and join the RNLI and the other boats that collect together, and it was an extremely moving experience, wasn't it?
It was. We were the only human-powered boat involved in that. It was amazing. This time last year, there wasn't a way for us to go out there. This time we were part of something very, very important to the community. And
you're going to do that again, I trust.
Absolutely.
It's going to become an annual thing.
Absolutely. It's really important. And we live in an amazing place. We can row all the way along the coast, east to west. We can go north.
Yes, you can go up the Ouse, you can go east-west along the channel.
Absolutely beautiful.
And it's a very particular thing being in a boat with other people, especially when you have to work together. It's a sort of strangely intimate space. You're also not looking directly at each other because you're all sitting facing the same way. and we have the most tremendous chats. We have loads of fun out there, and we regularly stop and just take a breath and look around because it's very beautiful.
Yes.
And it's rare to have those kinds of views without actually being on the water.
Oh, lovely. Next piece of music is seasonal. It's from the Four Seasons, and this one, of course, is what we hope is coming to an end: winter. Yes, that was winter, and let's hope winter is on its way away so that spring can come and take its place. Getting quite poetic in my old age, aren't I? Now, your gig needs looking after. What is your sort of maintenance schedule like?
It does, and our crew need looking after as well. Actually, they're pretty essential. Yeah, I mean, this is it's a wooden boat, and it's a real art actually looking after the gig. Do you know what? There are some amazing boat builders in Newhaven.
Yes.
we have found. You turn up with a gig, and suddenly people like Chris Tipper
arrive
and say, "Oh, I haven't seen one of those." And this is wood, and it's if it's not in the water enough, the wood doesn't warp and seal. So the longer you leave, if you let the boat dry out, actually, and you have to make sure that it's rainwater is actually seawater is best actually for these boats.
So you have to pump out the rainwater.
Right.
Yeah, because the rainwater will rot the boat.
But seawater won't.
No, that's right.
That's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the other thing just to bring this alive a little bit, the oars, they're 13 feet long. They're wooden oars with leathers, and they sit in between two pins.
Soft and a hard pin.
Soft and a hard pin. That's perfect.
So that they're not sort of rowlocks in the...
No, because of course in an ocean-going boat, your rowlocks would bust in huge waves.
Yes.
So you have to have two pins.
Just pins.
That's
just
right,
solid,
yeah.
hard. They're hardwood pins.
Yes, and
there's one hardwood and one softwood pin.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And they're designed that way actually. The hard pins will be closest to the rower. The soft pins will be furthest away from the rower. And if you catch a crab, which is a term where the oar gets stuck into the water and you can't relieve the pressure, then the soft pin breaks. And what's really good actually for some of our newer rowers when they come on board, they often catch a crab and they often break the pegs. And what's great is we can say, take that home, put it on your mantelpiece.
Put the date on it.
Put the date on it. That will remind you when you came rowing, and it probably won't happen again because you'll remember what you learn. And one of the things we do is it costs £3 to row with us.
Right.
I mean, what can you get for £3 these days?
That's right.
You might get to take home in a broken wooden peg, but actually you can come out on the water for £3. You can come on the water and do something amazing in an amazing place, and that's called pin money. And in effect, what it does is it replaces.
Yes,
gotcha.
Yeah.
And then the junior rows £1 as well.
So the junior rowers have £1, and what ages do you class junior rowers?
Under 16s.
Right. So if you're 16 or over, you're an adult rower, and if you're under 16,
junior,
you're a junior.
We're a little bit worried actually because over 40s is veterans. So some of us are, but we take people all ages, all backgrounds, and this is really accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. That's really great. Now, if someone wants to join you, what do they do?
Well, it's really simple. So we run all this from Facebook, and Newhaven Gig Rowing Club is our Facebook page. The other alternative is you can come down to our gig shed. So we're out every Saturday or Sunday in Newhaven. It's the old diving centre for people that have been around a while.
Opposite the co-op.
Opposite the co-op, rebranded co-op, and we're there. And that is as simple as that. Come and have a go.
We do have a few people who are not on Facebook, and people will buddy up with you. We're in the process of building a website. We've had somebody volunteer, whose name escapes me right now, but thank you very much, sir, whoever you are, who's building a website for us. And we've had some advice from a guy called John Spong as well about website development, and so we'll be able to run from kind of an ordinary web page. So if you're not on Facebook, don't worry. We've had a number of people who just don't do Facebook for all kinds of good reasons. Yes, and yes, we've started crew runs on a Tuesday night,
Right.
and we've got some ergos or rowing machines, and we've got some weights and some other things. We're going to start doing some kind of cardio and strength-based
And
conditioning.
you want to build up, of course, upper body strength.
Yeah, and core strength. You need
Core
to
strength,
you need to
yes.
be strong in your back and in your stomach muscles, and
Yes.
also, in fact, because there are stretchers that you push off. It's a fixed seat boat. You have to have strength in your legs also, and mobility in your hips. So it's an
Right.
all-over body work.
Yes. Right. Well, I've got to thank you, all three of you, for coming in and joining me. I found it fascinating. I really have.
Would
And
you
I
like
just
to come
hope-
and row?
Pardon?
Would you like to come and row?
My brain would.
We'd be very welcome as a passenger if you, on a fine day, we could take you to Lewis for a pub lunch.
I get seasick on a rowing boat on a rubber dinghy on a pond.
Oh.
So that's the one thing I sort of have to avoid
Yeah.
if I wish to be comfortable. Anyway, we're going to close this lovely programme, and thank you again for coming, with Henry Hall and the BBC Dance Orchestra with the Teddy Bears Picnic.
If you go down in the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you better go in disguise.